Everyone on the bus was thinking the same thing. How can two old men handle young bullies? Tommy Anderson was 71, walking with a cane. Curtis Washington was 69, quiet and wore glasses. But looks were deceiving. Tommy had spent 35 years as a street cop. Curtis had served 33 years on the SWAT team. And that evening, three young bullies were about to make the biggest mistake of their lives. If you believe in goodness and good people, hit subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. It was a cold November evening in Detroit. People were waiting at the stop for bus 47 downtown, ready to head home. It was 6:30 p.m. rush hour. Tommy Anderson, 71 years old, tall with white hair, stood at the stop. He had a cane in his right hand and a small grocery bag in his left. He'd worked 35 years as a street cop in the Detroit Police Department and had retired 6 years ago. Curtis Washington, 69, black, medium height, quiet, and wore glasses. He held a book in his hand, a history book. He'd served 33 years on the Detroit PD SWAT team, retiring 4 years ago. Every Wednesday evening, the two met up, did some shopping together, and took the bus home. A routine they'd followed for 6 years. Tommy, the store was really crowded today, Curtis said quietly, adjusting his glasses. Yeah, Curtis, everyone's shopping early. Winter's coming. Tommy tapped his cane on the ground. An old habit. The bus arrived. Grey, old model, but clean. The driver was a black woman in her 50s. Her name tag read Dolores. Good evening, gentlemen. Dolores smiled. She knew Tommy and Curtis. Good evening, Dolores. They answered in unison. The bus was almost empty. Just a few passengers. An elderly woman sitting at the front. A young mother with her baby in the middle. And two high school students in the back. Tommy and Curtis took their usual corner seats at the back. Tommy by the window, Curtis by the aisle. Same spot, 6. You're straight. How was your week, Curtis? Tommy asked. Good, Tommy. My grandkids visited. 8 and 10 years old. Real troublemakers. Tommy smiled. I've got a grandson too. He's 12. Always says he wants to be a cop. What do you tell him? I tell him he has to be very careful. Times are different now. Curtis nodded. They both knew being a cop was harder now. More dangerous. Less respected. The bus stopped at the second station. 3 young men got on. Jake Morrison, 22. A handsome white guy with a tough face. Wore a hoodie. Tattoos on his hands. He'd been arrested twice for theft. Got off both times. Rico Hernandez, 20, Latino. Jake's closest friend. Looked a little nervous. He'd never done anything like this before. But he needed the money. Tyler Brooks, 19, black, the youngest. Came from a good family, but had started hanging with the wrong crowd. The 3 of them sat in the middle of the bus and started watching the old men in the back. Look at those old guys. Jake whispered to his friends. They look like they're carrying cash. Rico looked uneasy. Jake, this place is wide open. There's a camera too. So, what? 3 young guys versus 2 old men. Who's gonna stop us? Tyler looked around. He was right. No one could stop them. The driver up front, the old lady, the mom with a baby, none of them were a threat. So what do we do? Tyler asked. Jake grinned. Simple. We wait for their stop. Get off with them. Handle it outside. Curtis watched the boys over his glasses. 33 years in SWAT told him exactly what they were planning. Tommy, Curtis whispered. I see them, Curtis. Those 3 look like trouble. What are you thinking? Tommy looked around the bus. The other passengers, 80-year-old Margaret Thompson, sat up front, heading home. In the middle, Sarah Wilson, 25, with her 6-month-old baby. In the back, to high school students listening to music. Curtis, there are innocent people here. If those kids try something. I know, Tommy, we need to be ready. They were both grandfathers now. Tommy had 3 kids. Curtis had 2. And they both knew. Sometimes being old was an advantage. No one saw you as a threat. The bus reached the 3rd stop. Margaret Thompson stood up. This is my stop, she told the driver. Jake, Rico, and Tyler exchanged looks. This was their moment. Margaret Thompson was 80 years old, a retired teacher. She had worked in Detroit schools for 45 years. That day, she had visited her grandchild and had $300 in her bag that she had saved for the grandchild's birthday. As the bus stopped, Jake signaled to his friends. Now, all 3 stood up at once as Margaret walked toward the door. Jake blocked her path. Where you going in such a hurry, Grandma? Margaret was startled. Excuse me, son, I need to get off. No rush. We just want to talk to you for a bit. The other passengers on the bus tried to figure out what was happening. Sarah held her baby tighter. The high school students took out their earphones. Son, please don't bother me. I'm an old woman. Rico and Tyler surrounded Margaret. Jake moved in with a grin. Let's see what you got in that bag, Granny. Nothing, just an empty bag, don't lie. You got money, right? Margaret was frightened. She hugged her bag tightly to her chest. Please, leave me alone. Give me the bag. Jake shouted. Everyone on the bus froze. Sarah's baby began to cry. The high schoolers shrank into a corner. The driver, Dolores, tried to see what was happening through the rearview mirror. What's going on back there? Dolores asked. Nothing, Jake answered. Just chatting with our grandma here. Margaret whispered through tears. Please help. But no one moved. Everyone was scared. Tommy and Curtis were still sitting in the back. But now they were ready. Curtis, what's the plan? You take the right, I'll go left. Just like the old days. You ready? I've been ready for 35 years. Tommy, Jake reached for Margaret's bag. Give me the bag. Nitrogen monoxide. Margaret screamed, refusing to let go. Rico grabbed Margaret's arm. Don't make it harder, lady. Tyler kept watch around. No one was intervening. Everyone was scared. You see, Jake said to his friends, no one's brave. In this city, everyone's. Excuse me, son. Jake turned. Two old men were slowly approaching from the back. Tommy walked slowly with his cane. Curtis adjusted his glasses. What do you want, Grandpa? Jake mocked. Tommy replied calmly, leave the lady alone, son. Rico laughed. Or what? You gonna beat us with your cane? Tyler added, old man. You and your buddy sit down. This ain't your business. Curtis spoke for the first time. Boys, final warning. Leave the lady and get off the bus. Jake laughed loudly. Who the hell are you to give me orders? Think you're some kind of 70-year-old badass? Everyone on the bus watched in suspense. To old men, 3 young punks. The numbers were clear, 322. The age gap, 50 years. Physical strength, youth. But there was one thing everyone overlooked. Experience. Tommy and Curtis exchanged a look. 35 and 33 years of police experience. They had worked together in countless dangerous situations, saved lives, caught criminals. I'm telling you one last time, Tommy said. Let go of the lady. And if I don't, Jake challenged. Tommy smiled. For the first time. He smiled. Then we'll show you who we really are. Jake stepped toward Tommy. Who do you think you are? Tommy didn't answer. Instead, he looked at Curtis. There was a silent understanding between them 35 years strong. 3, 2, 1. Tommy dropped his cane. But it didn't fall because he never needed it. The cane was just camouflage. At the same time, Curtis took off his glasses. His eyes were sharp, focused, glowing with the cold resolve of 33 years in SWAT. Jake tried to punch Tommy, with the reflex of a street cop with 35 years of experience. Tommy caught Jake's fist, twisted his arm, and took him down in 3 seconds. What's happening? Rico shouted. Curtis moved toward Rico. Rico tried to run, but Curtis had spent 33 years in the SWAT team. Using immobilization techniques, he neutralized Rico in 5 seconds. Tyler watched in shock. 2 old men had taken down his friends in 8 seconds. Who are you? Tommy stood up, holding Jake on the ground. I'm retired Officer Tommy Anderson, 35 years. Detroit Police Department. Curtis stood as well, checking Rico. I'm retired SWAT Specialist Curtis Washington, 33 years. Detroit Police Department. Everyone on the bus watched in stunned silence. Tyler's mouth was wide open. You're cops. Retired. Cops, Tommy corrected. But the sense of justice never retires. Margaret Thompson crying. Approached Tommy and Curtis. Thank you so much. You're angels. Tommy smiled. Mrs. Thompson, we just did what was right. Curtis added, no one gets to attack the elderly, not in front of us. Driver Dolores had been watching everything through the rearview mirror. Gentlemen, should I call the police? Please do, Dolores, Tommy replied. Lying on the ground, Jake shouted, you can't arrest us. You're not cops anymore. Curtis stepped closer and looked him in the eyes. Son, it's called a citizen's arrest. And someone with 33 years of SWAT training is more than qualified. Rico groaned in pain. They were real cops, Tyler. We made a huge mistake. Tyler was still in shock. But they look so old. Tommy responded, kid. Age is just a number. Experience is timeless. 5 minutes later, Police cars arrived. Two young officers boarded the bus. What happened here? One of them asked. Tommy and Curtis showed their IDs. I'm retired Officer Tommy Anderson. This is retired SWAT. Curtis Washington. These three attacked that elderly woman. The young officer's eyes widened. Tommy Anderson, you're a legend. I graduated 15 years after you people still tell your stories. Curtis smiled. Good day, officer. You can take the kids now. As Jake, Rico, and Tyler were handcuffed and taken away, the passengers on the bus began to applaud. Margaret hugged Tommy and Curtis. You are true heroes. Sarah approached with her baby. Thank you. Who knows what could have happened if it weren't for you? The high school students came closer. Sir, you're a real cop, Tommy smiled. Yes, kids. And let me tell you something. Being a cop isn't just about the uniform, it's about the heart, Curtis added, and the spirit of a cop never retires. Dolores turned from the driver's seat. Gentlemen, this bus is now yours. You can ride for free any time. Everyone on the bus laughed and applauded again. Miss Dolores, Tommy said, we just did our duty. 35 years, Curtis added, we worked together. Today, we work together again. Margaret asked, are you really 71 and 69 years old? Yes, Tommy replied. But age is no excuse when it comes to courage. Curtis agreed. It's never too late and you're never too old to do what's right. The next day, the incident was all over the Detroit media. Headlines read, retired officers, 71 and 69, perform heroic act on city bus. TV stations invited Tommy and Curtis for interviews. Mr. Anderson, a reporter asked, how did you take such a risk at 71? Tommy replied, age is just a number, but the sense of justice knows no age. Mr. Washington, how did your SWAT experience help you? Curtis answered, what I learned in 33 years is this. Experience always triumphs over youth. Because experience means patience, strategy, and wisdom. If you faced a situation like this again, what would you do? Both replied in unison, we do the same. Because once a cop, always a cop. After the incident, a senior safety campaign was launched in Detroit. Tommy and Curtis's story became a powerful example that the elderly could defend themselves. Police officers began offering self-defense training for senior citizens. Tommy and Curtis led these trainings. Friends, Tommy said during one session, don't feel weak just because you're getting older. Experience is your greatest strength. Curtis added, and don't forget, unity always makes you stronger. We worked together for 35 years. That's why we succeeded together again. Margaret Thompson also joined the campaign. Thanks to these two angels, I'm alive. They showed me that age is just a number, but courage knows no age. 3 months had passed since the event. Tommy and Curtis were now well-known heroes in Detroit. But for them, nothing had changed. Every Wednesday evening, they still met up, did their shopping, and took the same bus. That Wednesday evening, they were once again sitting on the number 47 bus. Driver Dolores smiled when she saw them. My heroes, how are you? We're good, Dolores. Tommy replied. How about you? Much better thanks to you. This bus feels so much safer now. Curtis looked around. The bus was once again full of the usual passengers, seniors, young people, mothers, children. Tommy, this city feels safer now. Yes, Curtis, but our job isn't done. What do you mean? Tommy smiled. Justice requires constant vigilance. As long as we live, we'll keep protecting this city. Curtis nodded. Even at 71 and 69. Just then, an elderly man stood up near the front of the bus. A young man stepped up to help him. Here, sir, let me help you. The elderly man smiled. Thank you, son. Tommy and Curtis exchanged a look. Society was changing. People were treating each other with more respect. Curtis, do you see that? I see it, Tommy. One small act we made started a big change. That's why there's no such thing as a retired cop. Being a cop isn't a job, Tommy. It's a way of life. When the bus reached its final stop, Tommy and Curtis got off. Margaret Thompson was waiting for them. Hello, my heroes. Hello, Mrs. Thompson, they replied together. Today I have a little gift for you. Margaret held a cake box in her hands. What's this? Mrs. Thompson, I made a special cake for you. It says, Heroes at 71 and 69 on top. Tommy and Curtis's eyes welled up. Mrs. Thompson, this is beautiful, but we just did what was right. And doing what's right is true heroism. 1 year later, Tommy and Curtis still kept the same routine. Every Wednesday, the same bus, the same hours. But now, something was different. People recognized them, respected them. More importantly, incidents of elderly assaults in Detroit had dropped by 60%. Tommy, do you ever regret stepping in that night? Tommy thought for a moment. Curtis, I'm 71 years old. Maybe I have 10 years left, and I know exactly how I'll spend them. How? Protecting this city. What about you? Curtis smiled. I'm 69, and I feel the same. That evening on the bus, a young couple helped an elderly woman with her bag. Curtis nudged Tommy. See that? Change has begun. Yes, Curtis. And we started it with one bus ride in 5 minutes, but the impact will last a lifetime. As the sun set that evening, the two friends headed home. Tommy, 71, Curtis, 69, to retired cops, to close friends, to guardians of a city, and to heroes who never really retired, because justice knows no age, and neither does courage. If you also believe in the power of the police and that justice will never retire, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Tell us in the comments where you watched the video from, and we will send you a heartfelt greeting. And have you ever had such a heroic moment or an unforgettable event that you witnessed? Share it with us in the comments. Maybe we'll tell your story in the next video.